Am I the a-hole for telling my estranged father's soon-to-be ex-wife Mistress to complain to someone who cares about her? I'm 19, male, estranged from my father. I went no contact 5 years ago. Yes, I was young, and yes, I had to go through the courts to stop seeing my dad. But it worked. Having a therapist on side helped a lot. Once the decision was given to me, I chose not to see or speak to him again, and I have stood by my decision. Why? Because my dad cheated on my mom, had a few women he cheated with, but one in particular was like a regular mistress. When my mom kicked dad out, he moved in with his mistress and married her. He fought for full custody of me and lost, but 50-50 custody was given. My dad and his mistress talked crap about my mom. Dad said she was lazy and good for nothing. She never cooked his lunches for work as good as she did my school lunches. He told me she had an issue with him wanting to go out most nights, and that she sucked the fun out of life, as well as calling her a cheap C-word and other stuff. His mistress said she would be a better mom to me than mom, and that my mom wouldn't know what a good mother looked like if one went up and slapped her. She called my mom ugly and gross. I hated them. His mistress tried to be super sweet outside of that to me, but it made me sick and I gave her a super hard time until the judge stopped forcing me to go to their house. After I stopped going to dad's house, mom got sick. She died 2 years ago. It was hands down the worst experience of my life. I was still a minor, but I went to live with other family members, and I'm still living with them through college. A few weeks ago, my dad's mistress contacted me on social media and told me she had filed for divorce because my dad had cheated on her and given her STDs, and that he let one of those sluts attack her. I ignored her message and blocked her. A week later, she reached out to me on a different platform and I did the same thing. Then it happened for a third time. She must have realized I wouldn't respond, so she tracked me down in person when I was on my lunch break at work, and she sat at the table with me and tried to tell me all about her problems with dad. I cut her off before she could say much, and I told her to complain to someone who cares about her, because I don't care if he gave her dozens of STDs, or whether he let all his affair partners come for her. She's not my concern, and I had nothing to offer her except for the disgust I still felt about her being a mistress. She yelled at me, called me some names, and stormed off. She apparently found someone on dad's side who cared about her or felt bad for her, because now a relative on dad's side has tried to shame me for saying that to her face and not offering some kind of empathy. I don't feel like she deserved it, but this relative does. I had to block them too because they were not backing down. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Absolutely not the a-hole. What the hell? Keep these people out of your life, and good luck with everything. I know. What the hell was my reaction too? After years of hating her and letting her know that to her face, and then years of no contact, she thought I'd want to hear about her problems. Just tell her you lose them like you got them. Too bad for her, but F.A. and F.O. This. Why on earth was she expecting sympathy from OP? She's a home wrecker and a trashy, selfish person. I really can't understand these relationships. I thought I grew up in a slightly dysfunctional family, but it was really a lot more normal than any of these messes. In comparison, life's been real good. You literally walked away from that dumpster fire as a kid. Where does she get the audacity to come to you and expect any kind of support or sympathy? Keep them all blocked and all the best with life. Condolences on the loss of your mother. Next story. Am I the a-hole for siding with our son after he screamed at my wife? We're about to leave for a trip to visit family across the country. Yesterday, our 8-year-old son Jake got into a huge argument with my wife, and she's still acting cold toward both of us today. For some quick context, Jake is mildly autistic. He struggles with emotions sometimes, but is otherwise a pretty normal kid. Loves sports, loves video games, and wants nothing to do with anything he sees as girly, which is pretty typical for his age. I was playing video games with him while my wife was packing the last of her stuff. She called him into the bedroom. Maybe 10 seconds later, I hear him yelling, "Are you serious? Who the hell do you think you are? Get that stupid thing away from me." I went in thinking I was about to walk into him getting grounded, but instead I see my wife trying to force a pink, sparkly shirt on him. It had some celebrity on it and was clearly meant for a girl. I asked what was going on, and she said his cousin Jennifer, who we're about to see, is about his height, and she wanted to see if the shirt would fit before packing it. Jake, while on the verge of crying, yelled, "I don't care. Figure it out yourself. I hate you," and ran out. I told my wife she should have known better. It was obvious forcing him to try that on would upset him. She got frustrated and said it's just a shirt, and that trying it on was the least he could do after everything we do for him, like therapy, appointments, activities, etc. That completely threw me off. We're his parents. He doesn't owe us for basic parenting. This really raised my eyebrows because I've never heard her talk like that before. She went on to say that he's been getting more difficult lately, which, to be fair, isn't completely wrong, and that he should be punished for acting like a little jerk. I told her absolutely not. We're about to visit his cousins, and I'm not punishing him right before vacation because he didn't want to wear a shirt made for girls. I said we can bring it up in therapy after the trip. She argued that he screamed at her, and I said, "Yeah, no kidding, he screamed at you. You tried to make him try on girls' clothes." I'd yell at my mom if she tried to pull that on me. She stayed cold to both of us all night and refused to make dinner. I ended up ordering a pizza, which she took as me rewarding him for throwing a tantrum, since like most kids his age, it's his favorite food. Never mind the fact that ordering takeout the night before traveling is just the smart thing to do so you don't have to deal with dishes. That was yesterday, and she's still acting cold toward both of us this morning. And to make it better, my sister-in-law always automatically takes my wife's side anytime we disagree, so I'm fully expecting her unsolicited opinion as soon as we get there. Am I the a-hole? Honestly, everyone sucks here a bit. Who the hell do you think you are? That is not an okay way for an 8-year-old to be handling themselves. Your wife was totally out of line, but you can and still should have a discussion with your son about how it's okay to stand up for yourself. But there are better ways than to scream at your mom. I'm not pearl clutching over the word hell or anything, but if this is how an 8-year-old is talking, you guys should really consider how you talk to each other and where he's getting this from. Why is it that people expect better behavior from a child than an adult? An emotional outburst with inappropriate language is a child learning. Talking is needed, not punishment. Teach him how to respond and how to set boundaries. His mother calling him a jerk is a problem. She should have better control over her emotional outbursts too, and know what that could do to a child if they're overheard. It should always for a child to say no when the question includes their body, and it's not a matter of health or safety. That's how we teach consent. The child says no, the adult says why, a conversation is had, and no one needs to lose their temper. Maybe the kiddo is having more problems because there's less explanations and reasons and more my way or the highway chatter. No one will die if the child doesn't try on a shirt. The worst case scenario is it doesn't fit the intended recipient. This shouldn't have been that deep. Your wife needs to learn to pick their battles and stop taking such insignificant consent-based choices so personally. It sure should be a therapy discussion why your wife had such a strong reaction to a child being emotionally immature at 8. You missed the chance to do some basic parenting. Your 8-year-old child should not be screaming at his mother like that or using such language. Whilst you may side with your son on his reasons, there is no way you should be condoning the action he took. Not nipping these things in the bud could be what is causing him to get more difficult, something which you concede is true. Have to say you're the a-hole here. Teach your son there are better ways to handle these things, and that screaming at people is not okay. If you condone him speaking to his mother like that, then I can only imagine how he speaks to others. Parent as a team, not as individuals. Next story. Am I the a-hole for removing my sister from my life after she asked my wife to divorce me? My older sister doesn't like my wife. She never did. She was against our marriage, and she doesn't respect her or my marriage because she either ignores my wife completely or taunts her. My wife tolerated her this whole time, but later today my wife told me that my sister called her and she asked her to divorce me because she's not suitable for me. I went to my sister and asked her why would she tell my wife to divorce me. I said that I understand she doesn't like my wife and it's okay she doesn't have to. But asking her to divorce me is going too far. She says that my wife is controlling me and I have married her because of my insecurities and we aren't a good match. I told her that our families approve of our marriage. Then why is she against it? She said she's against because she cares about me, and my marriage and my wife is not good for me. I said that I love my wife and I trust her, and I don't think that I can find a better woman for me. And if she doesn't agree or respect my wife and our marriage, then I am removing her out of my life. I'm speaking for both of us, because my wife doesn't want to tolerate her anymore. My sister got emotional, and she said that she's just trying to help me and I should listen to her, and that she is not my enemy, and I'm her brother so she won't ruin me. I feel bad for asking her permanent removal out of my life, and I do love my sister. But my wife comes first to me, so I'm prioritizing my future. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Divorcing your sister is the best option. Divorce my sister doesn't sound good, but removal of her from our life is a must. I think if now she's telling my wife to divorce me, then maybe in future, what else would she do or say? My sister doesn't like my wife, okay. She doesn't want to talk to her and ignore her, okay. But why would she ask my wife to divorce me? If nothing else, she should have talked to me and told me to divorce my wife, but I'm never doing that. The sister must be mentally disturbed. She doesn't like the wife, and yet she goes to the wife to demand that she divorce you? How would that even make any sense? Why would the wife listen to her at all? Crazy person. You're not an a-hole at all. Your sister crossed a serious line. Telling your wife to divorce you isn't love, that's disrespect. Plain and simple. To be honest, he should be embarrassed he let his wife endure this at all. No, it's not okay she doesn't talk to her and ignores her. He should have stopped her there. His wife did nothing wrong, but his sister certainly has. Not the a-hole. Classic projection. She wants to control you and is projecting that onto your wife. Tell Sissy you will be divorcing her and keeping your wife. What is she going to get by controlling me? This what I don't understand. And yes, I'm keeping my wife. Keeping her in my life is my priority. If I didn't want her in my life, and she didn't want me in her life, then we wouldn't have married each other. We are suitable for each other, and we think we couldn't have found a better partner. Based on what I know about controlling people, it's a sense of power. Your sister's wanting to feel the sense of power over you, and is trying to maintain control by breaking your wife and you up so she can maintain control over you. This is a very common tactic used by controlling people. Basically, it's a narcissistic trait. It's weird, it's unhealthy, and I think you should put some distance between yourself and your sister. Last story. Am I the a-hole for having my husband add me to his Costco account and take his ex-wife off? My husband and I have been married almost a year, together a little over 2 years. His ex-wife, who we are friends with, they have adult kids together, had remained on his Costco account, which is fine. Until recently, I was still on my ex's Costco account too. But I was taken off without being informed, had a whole cart full and they wouldn't let me check out due to being removed from the account, so I had to just leave it all there. So yesterday we had some time, and I wanted to go to Costco to finally get on my husband's account, because it's annoying never being able to go on my own. My husband called his ex to let her know that the only way to add me would be to remove her. She didn't answer the phone, so he called her boyfriend, who we are also friends with, and he said go for it, no big deal. We hardly ever shop there. So I got added on. On the way home, his ex-wife returned his call and got incredibly upset, saying she shops at Costco all the time. This is super messed up of him, and he shouldn't have just gone and added me just because I wanted him to. She was also saying that by shopping there, they contributed to the rebate check my husband gets. Last year, it was only like $100, and we bought dollars worth of new flooring plus our regular purchases. The way I see it is she's been using a free Costco membership for like 8 decades plus. We didn't just kick her off without telling her, so she'd be stuck at checkout with a cart full of stuff the way I was. She says we didn't handle the situation well and should have informed her a month in advance. My husband then offered to pay for a year's membership for her. She agreed, but was still mad. So were we wrong? Not the a-hole, but frankly, neither of you should have been on an ex's membership. That's one of those things that ends along with the relationship itself. Weird that it wasn't until now. I can see where you're coming from. We both have kids with our exes, so my ex basically kept me on until he got a new partner to add, which is fine. The only thing that bothered me was not getting a heads up and being stuck at checkout, and my ex just let her stay on there, which is also fine. But I just feel like her reaction was extreme given the fact that she's had access to a free membership all this time, and her comment about it being wrong that he just added me because I wanted him to. Like I did it to be rude somehow? I also don't think we should be obligated to buy her a membership, but $65 is whatever, I guess, if it means it will keep the peace. Up until now, we haven't had any issues with animosity. I think one of the reasons this is coming up for her like this is because ordinarily one would cut this sort of ties at the time of the breakup, because it wasn't she likely felt or assumed it was one of those remaining things. I'd wager she felt sideswiped by it because of the timing. Yeah, I don't think you all should be required to pay for a new membership either. But with kids in the mix, it is definitely easier to do what you can to keep the peace. It's $60 a year. Is all this angst with $5 a month? It's not even the cost. People just hate dealing with paperwork. I rented a room from this woman who used to share the condo with her ex-husband. All of the bills were in his name. She had been divorced for almost 10 years. She just couldn't be bothered to change them over, and for some weird reason, her ex-husband didn't care either. I set cable internet up for the place and put it in my name, and when I moved out, she was genuinely surprised when I disconnected and took all the equipment with me.